Aloha mai kākou, a komomai curtain call, a program of reviews, previews, interviews, and features of and or with the great art and artists on Maui and beyond. I'm Paul James Brown. Last week at the McCoy Studio Theater of the Maui Arts and Cultural Center, there was an extraordinary event featuring the Beamers, Keola and Moanalani, along with Maui's own multiple Na Hoku Hano Hano award-winning slack key guitarist, Jeff Peterson. Akalau was billed as a 3D experiential performance and film for the benefit of those affected by the fires on August 8th. The afternoon featured a concert by the Beamers and Mr. Peterson, where songs were accompanied by 3D films created by Maui's Emmy Award-winning world-class documentary filmmaker, Dr. Tom Vendetti, Ph.D., who is also a renowned clinical psychologist, along with a screening of the 2012 3D feature documentary Flight of the Butterflies. Keola Beamer is such a consummate professional. A concert by him doesn't feel like a performance, but an intimate conversation interspersed with song and dance by he and his wife of 39 years, Moanalani, accompanied by Jeff Peterson. He is so relaxed and at ease with himself and his art. Dr. Vendetti told me that the show was going to be like an intimate gathering by the fireplace where Mr. Beamer would talk story about his past and present. They actually had a fireplace downstage center during the show. However, although Mr. Beamer, a Lahaina resident, was not one to lose his home, so many others around him did, and this made rehearsal nearly impossible. One could not tell. Everything about Mr. Beamer's work was engaging, entertaining, and excellent. After an appreciation introduction by Tom Lunenberg, who has been a student of Mr. Beamer's for more than 15 years, Moanalani Beamer did a sacred pule and brought Mr. Beamer to the stage, who then introduced Mr. Peterson. They played two instrumentals, Pua Li Lehua and Pua Punahele, both of which were magical. Mr. Beamer brought his wife Moanalani to the stage to the classic Lena Machado love song, Holo Va'apa. The audience put on their 3D glasses for the first film, Mauna Kea. It opened up with a glorious nose flute solo by Mr. Beamer. The images, all by Dr. Vendetti, were breathtaking. It was as if you were there. 3D has come a long way. Mrs. Beamer performed a gorgeous hula while Mr. Beamer played. They went right to Keʻola Nani, another 3D film, which featured stunning images of our island as well as Kauai. Mr. Beamer told a story about his mother writing songs for Keiki, and they performed 3 of them, and Mrs. Beamer did a gorgeous hula. The Pele trilogy was the only one that was made up entirely of images from someone other than Dr. Vendetti. These came from the U.S. Geological Survey that Dr. Vendetti edited. Because the songs were in Hawaiian, Mr. Beamer suggested translation be provided, and Dr. Vendetti put in lovely animated translations as the songs were sung live. The 3D images made one feel as if one was inside the crater. They saved the best for the final number, before the Hanaho. It was called Real Old Style, and it was 2D images of the Beamer family making music, beginning with Mr. Beamer's grandfather, Francis Keali'i no Ho'opono Beamer, his uncle Clayton Kealoha, his brother Kapono, his grandmother Louise Danby, his mother Nona, and Mr. Beamer, and a beautiful childhood image of his mother dancing hula. Then a clip of her when she was a kumu. In the real old style. It was a gloriously beautiful show, and the 3D videos added so much to the proceedings. After intermission, where audience members were able to bid on items as a fundraiser for the victims of the wildfires, the 2012 3D movie Flight of the Butterflies by English director and producer Mike Slee was presented. It was the 38-year search by Dr. Fred Urquhart, Ph.D., and his wife Nora for the migratory patterns of the monarch butterfly. This was a unique movie because it was a quasi-documentary. It was a film that was presented like a documentary with actors portraying the main characters in it. Dr. Urquhart was born in 1911 in Toronto. As a boy, he was captivated by monarch butterflies and wondered where they came from every spring and where they went to. After he received his undergraduate degree in biology in 1935 from the University of Toronto, he went on to get a master's degree in etymology and began his scientific quest in 1937, working to unravel the mystery. He thought that if he could tag the butterflies, he would be able to track them. After many attempts, he found a tag that would stay on their wings. Then he realized he and his wife Nora would need to help track the paths of the monarchs. They founded the first Insect Migration Association, today known as Monarch Watch, and recruited hundreds of volunteers or, quote, citizen scientists, unquote, who helped in their research by tagging butterflies and reporting findings and sightings. With their help, they tracked the butterflies to Texas. They decided to find their home and spent a summer driving over 14,000 miles around where their tracking showed the butterflies should be, but they could not find any trace of them. They recruited two naturalists from Texas, Kenneth Brugger and his wife Catalina Aquado Trail. The film shows them surrounded by monarchs on Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, which coincides with our Halloween. They travel to a mountaintop in Michoacan, Mexico, and on January 9th, 1975, they find where millions of monarchs winter. They contact the Urquharts, who come there despite having a disability that requires a cane. The moment Gordon Pinsett and Patricia Phillips, who portray the Urquharts, see the butterflies is priceless. Despite his elation at this discovery, he is not convinced it will be scientifically valid until, by some miracle, while resting on a rock, he sees a dead butterfly with one of his tags. This film shows the life cycle of the monarch, and the Urquharts were responsible for discovering the fact that it takes 3 generations to migrate from their winter place to their final destination in Canada, but that generation in Canada is a super generation and lives 3 times longer and flies more than 2,500 miles to its winter habitat. This mixture of documentary with a feature is such a brilliant method of filmmaking. I found this film beautiful. The 3D was very high quality. The acting was invisible. It felt like we were watching the discovery as it unfolded, and highly instructive as well. I was surprised to find it was made more than a decade ago. If you have a chance to see it in IMAX 3D setting, don't hesitate. If you cannot wait, then go to YouTube and put in Flight of the Butterflies. You will not regret it. Well, that's Curtain Call for this week. Mahalo for tuning in. I'm Paul James Brown. Maui strong. Ahui ho.
Kule, Roselani, Akule, oh Roselani.